At this time, I'll call the York County February 2nd, 2026 County Council meeting to order. First, I want to welcome everyone who made it safely here tonight. We're glad that you're here to join us for council on a snowy day where there's been a lot of closures, but we're glad you made it here safe. The first item is for invocation and pledge of allegiance. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the many blessings that you've bestowed on our county. We are very thankful for the first responders, the road crews, the public works and utility workers who are out working on our behalf to serve and protect us. We ask that you keep them safe during this time. We also thank you and ask that you bless all of our individuals in uniform, whether they serve local, state, or national. We ask for protections and blessings over them and their families. We ask that you watch over us tonight as we do the business of the people, that we would make decisions that are according to your will and in the best interest of the people that we serve. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We do have oath of office tonight for a number of individuals if they were able to make it. I'll read them out, and if you are here to be sworn in, if you'll come forward and stand in front of the podium, our attorney will meet you at the front in order to swear you in. We have Rob Mazone and George Tolson with the Rock Hill York County Convention and Visitors Bureau, both at large seats. John Segura, Planning Commission, District 2. Michael Peak, Catawba Regional Workforce Investment Board. Sandra Goodman and Ashley Hamilton, also with the Catawba Regional Workforce Investment Board. And as you make your way forward, we do want to say thank you so much for your willingness to serve your fellow residents and your neighbors in this capacity on these boards. Most folks don't realize you do so without any pay and usually without any thanks. And so we do thank you for the work that you're doing for the community. We could not do the work of the people without folks like you stepping up to serve in those slots, so we appreciate it very much.
I do solemnly swear that I'm qualified, according to the Constitution of the state, to exercise the duties of this office that I've been appointed, and I will, to the best of my ability, discharge the duties thereof, preserve, protect the Constitution of this state and of the United States. So help me God.
Thank you again. We do not have any appearances tonight. We do have a number of folks who have signed up for the public hearing session. As you make your way to come up and speak, if you'll please give your name and your address before you start speaking. At that point, the timer will start for the 2 minutes. Again, this is an opportunity for individuals to approach and to speak. It is not the time for council to respond back and forth. Sometimes we get folks asking us questions, and that's not the purpose of this forum. This is a forum for us to listen to individuals and to have county staff and our county manager hear from the community. We do ask that you keep your comments limited to matters that are within the council jurisdiction, and that you ensure that if you're here to speak on something that is in a public hearing item, I'm going to ask that you wait and give your comments at the public hearing time. At that point in time, you aren't limited in what you can say. It makes the transcript and the hearing better if you speak at the time of the public hearing instead of at the front. First item is Jen Williams.
Good evening. Jennifer Williams. I am in the Saddlegate neighborhood in Fort Mill. That's Horseshoe Trail. Under York County Code, Section 30.04B, once 2 members of County Council request that an item be placed on a future agenda, the county manager has a mandatory and non-discretionary duty to place that item on the agenda. The ordinance removes further discretion at this point. It does not allow for delay, conditions, or veto by the chairperson or staff. This is written. That county code is simple. When two council members request an item, it must appear on a future public agenda. The request to pause Silfab's permits was made twice, first on May 19th and again on January 20th at the council meetings. Two council members publicly requested that the specific item be placed on the agenda. A council vote to pause permits and withhold certificates of occupancy for the Silfab project until zoning litigation is resolved. Both requests were made on the record. The item was never placed on the agenda. Your own code was violated. At the same time, council says it cannot act because the matter is in litigation. Permits connected to Silfab continue to move forward. This is a textbook example of a double standard. You cannot say that your hands are tied, yet allow actions that are related to continue elsewhere. Follow your own codes, please. Add this item to the public agenda and allow council to vote on pausing permits and withholding certificates of occupancy for the Silfab project until zoning litigation is resolved. That's all we're asking. Failing to do so violates York County Code 30.04. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Amy Myers.
Amy Myers, 928 Wood Apple Lane, Fort Mill, South Carolina, 29708. At the last council meeting, this council spoke about Martin Luther King Jr. and challenged all of us to do something meaningful every day to help people who are less fortunate, to give them a hand up and improve our community for everyone, not just those who already have everything. I agree with that message. But the Silfab situation has made inequality worse. Families with money can move. They can pull their kids out of nearby schools. They can homeschool or send them somewhere else. But many families do not have those choices. I am one of those families. More than 1,000 students within 1 mile of the Silfab site qualify for free or reduced meals. Hundreds of nearby families are at or below the poverty line. Many live paycheck to paycheck. Many are trapped in homes worth less than their mortgage. They're stuck. Zoning is supposed to protect people like me. That is why we are asking for one clear action: a council vote to pause permits and withhold certificates of occupancy for the Silfab project until zoning litigation is resolved. Words about helping people mean absolutely nothing without action. This is the moment to put those words into practice. Place this vote on the public agenda. York County families like mine need your help. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Jamie Johns.
I'm Jamie Johns. I'm the maternal grandparent of a student that attends Flint Hill Elementary School, and I live at 1066 Archibald Avenue in Fort Mill. Council has told citizens that they cannot speak about Silfab because there is a lawsuit. We are told to stay quiet, we are told to wait, and we are told that this cannot be discussed. But the county did not stay quiet. York County issued a press release on Silfab while the case was still active. So here's the double message. Citizens are told silence is required. The county decides when it's allowed to speak. The county spoke first, and the county spoke alone. That press release named a private citizen involved in the case. That does not inform the public. It discourages people from speaking up. At the same time, citizens asked for a simple and lawful action, a council vote to pause permits and withhold certificates of occupancy for the Silfab project until zoning litigation is resolved. That request was denied and kept off the agenda. So let's be clear. If this issue truly cannot be discussed, then the county should not be issuing statements. If the county can speak, then the public deserves a vote. One rule for the government and another rule for the citizens is not lawful, and you cannot have it both ways. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Luke Gildner.
Hi, folks. I'm Luke Gildner. I live at 1130 Gold Rush Court. Here's another problem, and this one's a pretty simple one. In court filings about SILFAB, county lawyers have said that the Follett vote approved zoning. Now, in this room, on multiple occasions, most notably on December 1st, council has said the Follett vote was only about tax incentives, not about zoning. Both of these statements cannot be true. If the Follett vote approved zoning for SILFAB, then citizens were never given the notice and never given the right to appeal. If the Follett vote did not approve zoning, then the permits were issued without zoning approval. That is why citizens are here asking for this action. A council vote to pause permits and withhold certificates of occupancy for the SILFAB project until zoning litigation is resolved. Pick one story, make a clear decision so that people can appeal. That is how the law works. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Brandon Langford.
Good evening. My name is Brandon Langford. I live on Halts Creek Parkway in Fort Mill. I have a simple request. Show us the law. Show us where the York County Zoning Code says a tax incentive vote can replace zoning approval for a project like SILFAB. Show us where an inducement ordinance is allowed to provide zoning compliance. If you cannot show that rule, then what is happening is not allowed. Zoning decisions must be appealable. And right now, zoning is being claimed without an appealable decision. That denies due process. That is why we're asking for one limited step, a council vote to pause permits and withhold certificates of occupancy for the SILFAB project until zoning litigation is resolved. Either zoning was decided and people can appeal, or zoning was never decided and permits must stop now. I was recently informed that some members of this council have not read or reviewed materials previously provided by citizens in the past. And if true, this is very troubling. We, the people, expect you, our elected officials, to conduct your own due diligence, scrutinize the facts, seek independent legal counsel, call USC and ask them to explain their health risk assessment. Both state law and county code give the 7 of you the authority and the police power to protect not only your district, but all of York County. Fulfill your duty and your oath by making an informed decision to hold a public vote to pause the permits and withhold a CO until the case can be heard. Thank you.
Thank you. Kate Hanover.
Hi, I'm Kate Hanauer. I live at 596 Cranbourne Chase in Fort Mill. I have 2 sons that attend Flint Hill Elementary. This is not complicated, y'all. You cannot say that you never voted on zoning, and the county argues in court that the FILO and the inducement ordinance ratifies zoning compliance for the SILFAB project. You can't say both those things. You cannot say that you can't act while your staff continues to act by moving permits forward. And you can't say that your hands are tied. The Attorney General has already made it clear. The existence of litigation does not remove your authority. You retain the power to act, and you retain the responsibility to act. Choosing not to act is not neutrality, that is a decision. And every day that this council decides to do nothing, the violation continues. The solution is one clear and lawful action: a council vote to pause permits and withhold certificates of occupancy for the SILFAB project until zoning litigation is resolved. Put the item on the agenda. Vote. Give the people a decision that we can appeal. Zoning exists to protect us, the people, and right now you are not doing that. You cannot have it both ways. I have a few more seconds, so I'll just repeat the instructions here. Put the item on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Michelle Fowler.
My name is Michelle Fowler. I live in Knightsbridge subdivision in Fort Mill. I'm here tonight as a concerned resident of York County, asking a question this council has repeatedly avoided. Why were the building permits issued to Silfab after the Board of Zoning Appeals ruled 5-0 that the operation is heavy industrial and not permitted in this light industrial parcel? I have emailed each of you this question, and it was never answered. The facts are simple. The BZA ruling stands. It has not been overturned, and it remains the controlling zoning decision. Despite that, this council allowed building permits to be issued anyway. When concerns were raised, you deferred to non-elective staff and attorneys whose interpretations directly conflicted with the BZA decision. That was not a lack of authority. It was a choice to look the other way. That choice is not supported by law or by the Attorney General. The Attorney General, who has made it clear that local governments retain authority to act while litigation is still pending. Since then, additional information has only strengthened this case for action. Independent analysis and expert guidance have documented high-hazard chemical classifications with proximities to schools and child care daycare centers in which my children are zoned to attend. Let me be clear about what is not in dispute here. Silfab is constructing a heavy industrial chemical facility. The property is zoned light industrial. The BZA ruled this use is not permitted. The permits were issued anyway. This council has the authority to revoke them. So my request tonight is simple. Put the pause of Silfab's permits on the agenda. Hold a vote and make a decision that is transparent and based on the facts. Zoning exists to protect people, and right now that protection is failing. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Steve Penland.
My name is Steve Penland, and my wife Judy and I live at 6457 Campbell Road. Our far borders the back end of the present QTS data center under construction and two sides of the planned expansion site that was recently purchased by QTS. I would like for you to know that, to my knowledge, no resident on Campbell Road received any notification by mail or phone called about the meeting on November 4th or the upcoming February the 10th between QTS and the neighborhood residents. It's strange that the residents who are adjacent to the project were never contacted. I attended the first meeting, but QTS did not make a presentation. The management just answered questions that were presented to them on a one-on-one basis. Therefore, there was no accountability. My questions were as follows. Question 1, are you going to replant trees that were removed like grand trees and the county ordinance requires? QTS, yes, but not at this site. We will plant hundreds of trees throughout York County. Question 2, so no trees will be replaced in the neighborhood where you remove them. QTS, correct. Question 3, I'm told that this facility will double the demand of York County Co-op electricity in York County. How will there be enough energy to supply residents and industry during high energy demand if this facility is constructed? QTS, this will be up to the leadership of York County to figure out. Question 4, why hasn't there been a meeting with local residents before November the 4th, 2025 to let them know about the data center? The QTS says, the county leadership requested that we hold off any meetings until this November the 4th meeting. The sad part of this exchange is that I believe that QTS responses were truthful. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Chris Thompson.
Chris Thompson, I live in Vander Lakes subdivision off of Campbell and Perham Road in York. I've always thought it's important to stand up for what's right, even if it's hard. In 2012, I was part of a group of residents that convinced York County Council to abandon a project that they had already invested $250,000 in because it was bad for York County. None of you were on the council at that time, with the exception of Mr. Roddy, and I think it was his first year. Mr. Audette will remember this because he was part of our group that came forward to talk to the council about the consequences of this, passing this ordinance. It was called the Unified Development Ordinance, and it would have significantly compromised property rights, private property rights. Yet that council was unaware of this problem because they didn't do the work to make sure that it was in the best interest of York County. They just took somebody's word for it. But we did the research. We knew what was wrong for York, it was wrong for York County. The difference then over now is that council listened to us and they responded. They withdrew their support, they cut their losses, and they did what was right for the people of York County, the people they served. Let that sink in. If he was here, I would thank him for, Mr. Roddy, for listening to us back then. Because, you see, you can fix these mistakes if you just will. I've never been more disappointed in my elected leaders than I am with this one. You have disregarded the people, and it's staggering that you don't listen to us, you don't respond to us. Here's my own personal example. I told you last meeting, I gave you a list of questions. Nobody's responded to us. We spent a month and a half researching those questions so that we knew we had documentation to back them up. We did our work. You did nothing.
Thank
So
you, ma'am.
you have the power to change this. It's not too late to fix it.
Thank you, ma'am. Rebecca, I'm going to pronounce this wrong. Sichi?
Hello, my name is Rebecca Sitchy, and this is my family. We live at Allison Acres, next to Little Allison Creek, and my home sits in District 3, directly adjacent to District 2, where the proposed data center is planned. I am here tonight to speak about one specific concern related to this project, light pollution, and what it means to our families like mine. Right now, when I step outside at night with my 4-year-old daughter, we can see the stars. She believes that when the moon is full, it has eaten the stars. And when it's skinny, like a banana, the stars come back because the moon is hungry. Those simple moments matter. They are how children make sense of the world around them. They are part of childhood and part of why many of us choose to live here, under the sky that still feels peaceful and natural. Here are 2 pictures that my husband has taken, one of a Sunday morning a while back. It's dark outside. The next one is from a Monday morning, both at 6 a.m. in the morning. We've been told by the developers, QTS, that the lighting will be directed downward and designed to minimize impact. But downward-facing lights do not eliminate light pollution. Large industrial facilities operate 24 hours a day. The scale, intensity, and constant illumination changes the night environment even when fixtures meet technical standards. Light reflects, it scatters, it glows, and once that glow is there, it doesn't turn off. This is one building. QTS wants 18. This isn't just about aesthetics, it's about quality of life. It's about whether children in our community will grow up knowing the night sky filled with stars, or one washed out by industrial infrastructure that never sleeps. I'm asking this council to take light pollution seriously, not as a minor checkbox, but as many real and lasting impacts associated with a large-scale data center development. Once a facility is built like this, the impact is permanent. There's no easy way to undo it. That's why oversight caution needs to be a priority moving forward,
Thank you,
not
ma'am.
after residents. My daughter may be 4 today, but the decisions made here will shape the sky that she grows up underneath.
Thank you, ma'am. Scott Kokenauer.
Hey everybody, Scott Coker, 122 West Oak Street in beautiful Whiteville Park neighborhood downtown Fort Mill. Hey, on the grand tree ordinance, I asked you to bring it out of consent agenda, bring it on the floor. Originally, we excluded the county from this ordinance, so this is the appropriate time while we got it open. Let's go ahead and include the county. I know it's going to cost us money and time, but the county should be, we as residents and small businesses should be treated exactly like the county's treated. We should be on equal grounds. And speaking of that, big business got a break in there. If we're going to give big business a break, all businesses, including small businesses, should have the same opportunity on the same playing field. So while we got it open, this is the appropriate time to do that. I am going to ask council to direct staff on the CILFAB matter, find out how much we have spent in legal fees. So this is not only in District 7, this is Districts 1 through 7. So every taxpayer, every small business owner is spending money on legal fees on the Silfab matter, so that's something that I think we should all be informed of along that line. And then on executive session, there's an audit for Pennies for Progress. If it was just a $50,000 number, I thought that would have been in consent agenda. If it was a personnel matter, I thought that would be in executive session. But any other matters that need to be brought back to council chambers and discussed, those matters need to be discussed in council chambers, not behind the scenes. There may be opportunity for some of those to be in executive session, but anything that's in that item, it really needs to be presented here in council chambers for us and everything. So, hey, once again, thank you all so much for everything you do. We'll see you.
Thank you, sir. Sandra Goodman. That's right, she was sworn in. Luke Gilcher. All right. Alyssa Hudspeth. Is Alyssa here? I'm here, but I don't think I'm speaking. Okay. All right. Well, we appreciate you folks for coming out and speaking. That is the conclusion of the public forum session. We move now to our consent agenda. Do we have a motion on consent?
Motion to approve, and I think it is worth having a discussion around the tree ordinance, so I can't remember which one that is.
Number 5, I believe.
Yeah, number 5. Let's go ahead and pull that out and have a discussion around that.
All right, we have number 5 out. Is there a second on the?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. We move now to our first public hearing item. Rezoning action, hold a public hearing and consider first reading, case number 25-54, tax map number 6550000252758, rezone from UD and RMX 10 to GC 6.89 acres in District 1.
Good evening, Council. Thomas Newland, Long Range Planner. So this project is off RPC Road, which is a little access way that's kind of associated with the intersection of I-77 and Highway 160, just outside Fort Mill. So the applicant proposes to aggregate these 3 parcels and build a self-storage facility. These parcels were residential maybe 10, 20 years ago, but you can see that some of the building footprints still kind of remain. They've since been removed and demolished. Here's the site plan that was submitted. You can see it's one major building in the center with, again, access off RPC and hopefully attaining access to the western neighbor. Zones, we can see the top 2 are RMX 10, again, representing that old zoning that was pertinent to those residences that were there. The south one is UD, but we can see there's a whole slew of commercial zones around here, GC, OI, and of course UD. In future land use, we're looking at I-77 corridor employment. We're looking for business operations that, of course, bring in high employment numbers. So while this technically is not consistent with the comp plan future land use map, given that self-storage facilities are not exactly high employment business operations, we do see that several of the neighboring parcels are zoned GC or are otherwise definitely commercial. This whole region seems to be. And the subject parcels are offset from that major roadway, making it very appropriate, actually, for something like a self-storage facility that doesn't need a wide storefront or high visibility for its business operation. By 7-0 vote, Planning Commission recommended approval.
Any questions for staff?
No, I've spoken with the developer on this one, so I do. I think the location-wise, I think it is a good location for what they're proposing to put in, so I'm good, yes. Thank you.
All right. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak against this rezoning?
Hey, everybody, Scott Coker, 122 West Oak Street in the beautiful Whiteville Park neighborhood downtown Fort Mill. Hey, Mr. Colthorpe sold some property right around the corner from this, within a couple miles, right there at the corner of Colthorpe Road and 77. It was supposed to be 2 flex buildings and everything. Right now, it is the ugliest storage facility for cars and RVs and boats with telephone poles and non-conforming signs on the interstate. So the way this is zoned, to my understanding, this can just be another storage facility, put a fence around it, You know how many times we get the opportunity, well, this is going to be this and this and this, and then 2 years later, it just turns into another storage yard. So this part is not contiguous with the town of Fort Mill, but it is close to the town of Fort Mill. And in the long-range plan, it is not designed for storage buildings. It's designed for more of an attractive business opportunity and everything. So that's why I am against it. Thank you so much for everything y'all do.
Anyone else wish to speak against this rezoning? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in favor?
Hi, my name is Mac Barrett. I'm a licensed professional engineer in the state of South Carolina. I work for a company called VHB. We applied for this rezoning. We're contracted with the developer in order to help the rezoning process along. The developer was supposed to be here today, but his child is sick and he wasn't able to make it. So he passed along some language for me to present to you about the history of the company and what they do. Condev was established in 1969 as a real estate investment and development company and is still family-owned and operated, with the second generation leading the company in its real estate endeavors, having fully developed over 1 million square feet of commercial, retail, and self-storage projects. Working closely with municipalities and architects specializing in self-storage design, Condev strives to develop a well-designed facilities to meet the needs of growing towns and cities across the Southeast. Thank you for your attention.
If you'll just provide the address for your business that you represent, so the clerk can add that to your business address.
The one I work for, or the one I'm the developer?
The one that you work for.
121 West Trade Street, Suite 1030, Charlotte, North Carolina. I've been working there for 3 months, so.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in favor? All right. Do we have a motion to close?
Motion to close.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the public hearing is closed. Do we have a new motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. Move now to public hearing item number 2, rezoning action. Hold a public hearing and consider first reading, case number 25-56, tax map number 54700000261, rezone from RSF 40 to RSF 30, 1.86 acres in District 6.
Yeah, this property is off Spring Point Road, just off of Lake Wiley, in a deep, deep suburban space. So the applicant proposes to get this rezoned to allow for manufactured homes, the primary dwelling. See, it kind of has a lot of access off of an easement. It's kind of a strangely shaped parcel. This whole area is zoned RSF 40, and again, it's deeply suburban. And you can see there are all different types of lot sizes, lot scales, and housing types here. Future land use, single-family residential, and what we expect are a lot of detached dwellings. And so we recommend approval of this request as the comp plan future land use map, that single-family designation doesn't actually differentiate between RSF 30 and RSF 40. And given that the property is not part of a planned subdivision, it doesn't have a specific character associated with it, we see that this change from RSF 40 to RSF 30 as totally appropriate, and the applicant does not intend to subdivide. By a 7-0 vote, Planning Commission recommended approval.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for staff before we open public hearing? Thank you, sir. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak against this rezoning? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in favor?
Motion to close public hearing?
Second.
Motion and a second to close. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, public hearing is closed. Do we have a new motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I haven't been over the property yet. I was out of town this weekend when I read this in our agenda. I'll try to get over there before our next meeting and get familiar. Since this is going to be a manufactured home, I'd like to put my eyes on the area. So I'm going to go ahead and vote in favor, obviously, of first reading, and I'll give you some feedback at second reading.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. We move now to our final public hearing item, council to hold a public hearing and provide third reading of an ordinance authorizing the assignment of the existing agreement between York County and River Hills Rescue regarding the provision of EMS services within the county to AMASUB of South Carolina, Inc., AMASUB, and further authorizing the execution of the Emergency System Participation Agreement addressing inter alia AMASUB's meeting and maintaining the requirements in State Regulation 60-7 regarding emergency medical services, terms and conditions pertaining to AMASUB's participation as an EMS provider operating within York County and as a part of York County's 911 dispatch system, providing dispatch response and drive time standards and requirements for AMASUB, establishing staffing minimum levels for rescue units, setting insurance coverage requirements for AMASUB, and providing for other matters related thereto. Any, yes.
Yeah, real quick, Madam Chair. We think it would be great if Assistant County Manager David Garner over Public Safety can share a little bit of context for everybody watching online and in the room, and background information about what this is and how it came into being.
Certainly, Mr. Garner.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. So the county was approached in late 2025 by River Hills Rescue and also Piedmont Medical Center about the proposition of this. And probably for comparison's sake, this is comparable to the Fort Mill acquisition from Atrium in early 2025. So River Hills Rescue Squad is one of the final rescue squad, the legacy rescue squads remaining in the county. They approached Piedmont, and I'm happy that they'll be recognized in a moment for the public hearing. They approached Piedmont Medical Center about acquiring their business, all of their assets, and their operations. As part of that, the county has to approve through ordinance the sale of those, the disposition of those assets, but also signing a new agreement. After extensive back and forth between legal, all those were arranged. Their agreement will be similar to that of Atrium's, so all the data requirements will be the same. And one important note is that this does not fall within Piedmont's existing contract. So this River Hills ambulance will be treated separately and will not be lumped into the entire large contract of Piedmont Medical Center. So this will be one standalone contract for this unit dedicated to that area, but also in benefit of the entire county system. So those are the primary components of this. Again, council's approval also negotiates agreement for them to continue that service. I'll let the representatives from each agency speak on kind of their purpose behind this, but county management supports this as we continue to try and build EMS across York County, but also keep services in the Lake Wiley area sustainable for the future, and also happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for staff? All right, thank you. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak against this matter? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in favor?
Good afternoon, good evening. My name is Michael Neal. I'm the President and Chief of River Hills EMS. So as you know, we are one of the 3 911 providers to the county. We started in July of 1980. The squad was originally funded through pure donations. The first funding came from the neighborhood itself, as well as the River Hills Lions Club. And throughout that time, it was primarily funded solely through donations. The neighborhood and the citizens of Lake Wiley generously gave to us. But probably about 15 to 20 years ago, we recognized that that was not a sustainable model. With rising healthcare costs and the dismal reimbursement rates from insurance, it became obvious that we were no longer going to be able to be sustainable without an outside source. So one thing that greatly affected us was we were primarily, actually solely volunteer-based. Everyone that worked with us was a volunteer. And probably about 15 years ago, we got our first paid member. Now, at this day, I am the sole remaining volunteer. Everyone is a paid person, which makes it very difficult to fund that when you're running off pure donations. So a couple years ago, we kind of figured out that this was not going to be something that we could do much longer, and actually we're considering on closing our doors. But probably about a year and a half ago, we were approached by Piedmont And we had been approached by a couple different hospital systems, as obviously Fort Mill had obviously been approached by Atrium. But Piedmont was the only one that came and actually said, how can we help? It was not an offer of this is what we're willing to do, but how can we help to buy into the community and to see this be sustainable, and not just be sustainable, but grow. And so they made it clear they wanted to invest into the community and believed that we could have a great partnership. So after speaking with them, it became obvious that this was going to be the best thing, and they were in the best position not just to provide for our employees, but carry it forward in sustainability for Lake Wiley, which was something that seemed like a faint dream to us. They've been nothing but compassionate and caring throughout the process, and wanted to make sure that not just our staff and my team is comfortable, but especially the community as well. So I'm here tonight to ask that you consider to vote in favor of this. My team and our entire board are in full support of this. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir. Does anyone else wish to speak in favor?
My name's Jeff Ledford, 2095 Cutter Point Drive in Lake Wiley. Tonight, I'm here representing the Lake Wiley Chamber of Commerce to speak in favor of Piedmont Medical taking over River Hills Lake Wiley EMS. River Hills EMS was established back in 1977. They actually started taking calls in early 1980. For 41 years, they've been a necessary service for River Hills, Lake Wiley, and York County. And ever since its inception, River Hills EMS has been financed mostly by local residents, which is an incredible achievement. I don't want this opportunity to go by without honoring those folks that have dedicated their hard work and long hours to the success of River Hills EMS. We owe Dick Mann, Michael Neal, Mary Cobb, and the hundreds of volunteers over the years our gratitude. The last few years have proven to be an increasingly difficult to raise the funds needed to support continuation of River Hills EMS. Volunteers working without pay and workers working with no benefits in today's world is crippling. With Piedmont Medical coming in to take over the River Hills EMS, those folks that have given so much to the community now get something back. Not only being employed by Piedmont Medical, but all those members of River Hills EMS will be paid employees with benefits. For the community, being able to keep an ambulance service housed in Lake Wiley with the current population and the future growth will be a vital part of our community going forward. We are excited about the future for this service in our community and look forward to the day when Piedmont Medical decides we need an emergency medical center or a hospital in Lake Wiley. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Does anyone else wish to speak?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Teresa Urquhart. I'm the market CEO for Piedmont Medical Center. And as you all know, Piedmont has been the leader in healthcare here for over 40 years. And, we've continued to expand our access for high quality and dependable care for the residents that we serve. And today I'm here on this ordinance, again, in support of this ordinance for us to acquire the River Hills Rescue. We have been working with them diligently over the last several months. And again, it's been a great partnership and a great opportunity to get to know them and their team. And as you all know, Piedmont Medical Center has been serving as the primary 911 service for this county for over 40 years. We have 185 employees within our EMS department. And, our team takes care of patients in our community during their most critical moments. So these services are not only just essential to immediate emergency response, but they also for the overall safety and well-being of our community. In 2025, Piedmont EMS has dispatched over 32,000 incidents, and we transported over 22,000 patients. Piedmont Medical Center fully funds the county's primary 911 service. We subsidizing more than $2.5 million annually. And we continue to reinvest in our EMS through our operations with new ambulances, QRVs, advanced medical equipment, innovative technology, and ongoing training for our staff. Piedmont EMS has demonstrated accountability and a commitment to quality care provided to our community. I'm very proud to say that in December of 2025, our Piedmont EMS was accredited by the Commission on Accreditation of Ambulance Services, and this places Piedmont Medical Center EMS among only the 4 ambulance services in South Carolina to meet these rigorous quality standards. As part of our continued commitment to York County, Piedmont Medical Center is working toward the acquisition of River Hills, of course with your approval. Expanding Piedmont EMS resources into the River Hills, Lake Wylie area supports our strategy at strengthening emergency response capacity across the county and meeting the increasing demand as the community grows. We will continue to follow EMS destination protocols and honor patient choice as we do today. Along with River Hills EMS, we have serviced this community for many years and are excited to consistently provide and expand service coverage for this area. This proposed partnership is fully aligned with our Piedmont Medical Center mission to strengthen community-based care, ensure EMS reliability, and responsibly grow our services where the community need is greatest. In closing, I appreciate and respect each one of you and thank you for all you do for our county. We look forward to continuing to contribute our support of York County's families, businesses, and communities. And therefore, I request your approval for this ordinance before you regarding River Hills and AmniSub South Carolina, Inc. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? Do we have a motion to close?
Motion to close.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, public hearing is closed. Do we have a new motion?
I move to approve third reading with one change, that paragraph 1.5 in the legislative findings be amended to replace reference to the South Carolina DHEC and address the Department of Public Health as follows. With regard to the provision of ambulance services, any EMT responder in the county must comply with the regulatory provisions of the South Carolina Department of Public Health.
I think Mr. Litton was first on the trigger, but do you defer? I think that's I think you've made the motion. Do you defer to that
I'll defer.
motion? Okay. We have a second.
Second.
Motion and a second. And I think that those were Scrivener's errors, as I understand it, from legal.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. So that was all, that was just need to fix some little odds and ends, because that was a lot. Okay.
It's just a change to reflect the correct business, the correct agency instead of it being the old one.
Okay.
All right. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. Move now to old business. Council to amend and provide second reading of an ordinance authorizing and approving the execution and delivery of a third modification to a development agreement between York County and Crescent Allison Creek LLC as master developer and the parcel developers party hereto as modified, recorded in the Office of the Register of Deeds for York County, South Carolina on June 27, 2008, to modify and amend the permitted uses applicable to certain real property located in Pod 1 bearing York County Tax Map Number 48800000126, owned by Duke Energy Carolinas LLC as successor in interest to Daimler Trucks North Carolina LLC, to allow as a major modification for the placement, location, and development of an electrical substation on the property and to provide for other matters related thereto. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in-
Nothing other than just saying, thank you for reading these very long titles out. It'd be nice if we had little shorter ones.
Yeah, I agree with that. It would be nice to have shorter ones. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. We move now to item that was removed from consent, number 5, which is council to consider second reading of an ordinance to amend Chapter 154 Land Development Code, Subchapter D, Green Infrastructure Standards, Part 4, Tree Conservation, to increase the radius of protective fencing around grand trees during construction, to provide for a public hearing, and to provide for other matters relating thereto. Do we have a motion?
Yeah, so I brought this out. The reason why I brought this out, and there is.
We need to get a motion first.
Okay, motion to approve with amendment on this.
Second.
Well, we don't have the amendment yet, so we need to wait for the motion. What is the amendment?
Well, so from an amendment perspective, when we originally went through this, there was a modification we made for schools, all right? It was an important adjustment, and it was almost double dipping on the impact on schools. When we did it, we were able to save about 200,000, for one school development going into one area. Again, that's just an example of what it saved the taxpayers. And in common sense, I think it was a good move because they're very much stewards of what
Mr. Audette, we still don't have the motion. I think you're getting into the discussion piece. What's the amendment part?
I
And
thought we
can
were
help
just going to
grab that.
discuss it in discussion and then
Yeah,
come
I
out
thought we
with
would
a
go ahead and
recommendation.
discuss it.
We've got to have a
That's
motion
what-
first. So we
well-
have a motion to approve, then we can work towards an amendment then. Is it a motion to approve?
Yeah, motion to approve.
Okay,
Yeah.
keep going.
Second.
Yeah, okay,
All
and
right.
we'll go through the discussion. Okay, so back to what I was saying, when we did the amendment for the hospitals, or excuse me, for the schools, it was a very valuable amendment, I thought, that allowed our schools in order to move forward and save some costs to the taxpayers. I thought it was good. This, I think, when we're moving forward with something like this, I think it is good for us to also looking at how we can support our small businesses. I think that there is an opportunity here from a small business perspective where we can look at amending it to a point where it could help them, because small businesses, again, don't have the funding when it comes to some of these tree ordinances. And I think it would be impactful if we looked at somehow amending it to open up some type of clause for small businesses, as we did for schools, et cetera. So again, that's what my request would be on that. I'm gonna open.
And Madam Chair, just real quick, I would encourage changes like that to be done in committee. I think
Okay.
what we're
And that's
asking
fair,
for.
that's fair, again.
And staff didn't even bring this change to y'all. This was the
Okay.
Planning Commission's request of this text change. And, Jonathan's here, we're happy to talk about what the text change is.
Mhm.
But council in 2024 added these 3 provisions. And I'm sure council added those for good reason. I think if y'all want to change the ordinance, Tom Couch and I are willing to dig into the details with you and
Mhm.
change it. But I think it's better to do that as a committee, to understand the problems and what we can do.
Mhm.
We're really just bringing forward what the Planning Commission asked, which is to extend the area around the trees. But I don't disagree with you that there could be opportunity to improve the overall ordinance too, but I would hate to do that tonight. I would rather
No,
do that
understood,
thoughtfully.
and I get it, but I want to have that discussion to at least bring this back, at least to committee, in order to us to examine this for a possible change down the road. I think it's something that when we went through this originally, I think there was more opportunity that we didn't capture. And I think it's something that we should look at. So I'd recommend, again, I can approve this as is, but again, I would recommend we do take this back as a future amendment to this policy. And we bring this back to our planning group.
All right, so the motion in front of us is to approve as is, as it was an isolated amendment that was promulgated from the Planning Commission and is limited to the tree buffer area. Is there any other discussion on this motion that's in front of us? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. To the end. We do not have any new business tonight. Committee and other reports, Justice and Public Safety Committee meeting, Chairman Tommy Atkins.
The JPS committee met on January 28th. Myself, Tom Audette, and Walt Huckabee were in attendance. The committee reviewed the EMS ordinance. Staff is continuing to make final changes and will come back to the committee for further review. The committee received an update on the fire strategic plan and analytics, and the committee requested management and legal to review the boards and commission members' conduct ordinance and present us a draft to committee for review. That's it.
Thank you, sir. We do not have any citizen concerns, any council member new non-agenda comments before we go into executive
Sure.
session.
I just want to thank Public Works and the Sheriff's Department and all the county employees that have been out there in this rough weather and taking care of the things. People don't realize how hard that is, and they're doing the best they can out there. you know, and along with that, not only just the county employees, but all the employees that are out there working, I want to, you know, thank all of them at the stores, restaurants. You know, they have to be out there to help us out, and I appreciate them getting out there and being safe.
Awesome.
Anyone
Okay,
else?
I have two. Okay, I would like to address, or for counsel, our legal counsel to address what was asked about attorney fees that have been used for our different lawsuits, if we can get an answer on that. Do you need to check that out before you can get back with us?
Yes, ma'am. I can report back on the specific details.
Can I, is that a question thing where you can ask?
Typically, those requests, the way we have done citizen concerns, this is something that council may need to revisit, has been to comment on something and it's not an engagement. It's a question to bring up things that are not on the agenda that you have a question or concern about. It's not an engagement piece. So that way it make sure we get the best information, doesn't put people on the spot. But I mean, if you've made the request, I think that extends to that. You said there were two. Is there something else?
Yes, we've had two major issues spoken about tonight and ask us as council to do our own research. And I think that there is an opportunity here for us as council members to take a look, if you choose not to, on the ones that are being talked about for the future. And that is when we get these particular heavy-duty projects in, that we maybe take a little more time and do a little bit more investigation. And I'm going to say this, I have a light industrial area with a heavy industrial business on it, and it's very discouraging to me. So that's just all I got to say.
Ma'am, anyone else?
Yeah, so I got two quick things. I had a conversation with one of my constituents around dog control, animal noise control over animals at a home. It kind of led on to a discrepancy that was identified between animal control, and I had a conversation with Tony in regards to it, Sheriff Tony. And there is a request that would come out of this, is that for the JPS meeting, we'd like to refer an agenda item, and Tommy and I talked about it earlier, to have the Sheriff's Office come in along with animal control so we can get a partnership when it comes to noise violations, where the sheriff can go there and then they can pass on what was found to the animal control group, and then that proceeding to the next step. I think that there's some opportunity to close the gap there, and we've seen some concerns in the public around that issue. So I'd like to refer that to JPS as an agenda item.
Yeah, and just.
What I'll say first is,
I've never heard about
first,
this.
I appreciate you reaching out to the chair of the committee first before coming in. I wasn't aware of the request that would be made. It's helpful for me to make sure that we're referring to the right committee, but I certainly don't have an issue if I want to make sure that the referral, though, is clear and there's no objection from council to refer the matter to JPS. As I understand, your request is to evaluate the noise ordinance with the specific dog barking issue?
Right, with a specific to both the Sheriff's Office and animal control. There's a partnership that could be.
And similar to Madam Chair, I would love the opportunity to talk to you about this before things get assigned to committee, because our Assistant County Manager over Animal Services might have some additional details to add. And I think if you don't give us as staff the opportunity to speak into it, potentially we're sending stuff to committee that we don't need to. So that would be my one request.
Okay. And the other thing I want to mention too, again, as a council member, we hear everything from the community, which that's what we're here for. We're here to answer and respond to the community, answer with needs and concerns. And my biggest concern is when we have stuff that comes to the county council members, and we do refer it to staff or legal, that we're agile in how we respond to things, to the community, because the community needs to have answers, and I think we need to be very as agile as possible to get responses back to our community when we do have issues that come to us. So again, I just want to place that out there as a discussion and a opportunity for further tightening of our agile responses. So thank you. That's it.
Anyone else? I do have one. There are some folks that have come up. One of the first things that I did when I got on council was to ask that council support an inquiry into the notifications that are given to the public, how they're given in planning issues, how they're given in economic development issues. We've had a number of folks who've asked that question. And when we first got here, there was only anybody who was in 250 feet. We increased that to 500 plus immediately adjacent folks that have to do with the zoning issue. I think taking a look at those again to make sure that they are adequate, that they're consistent with what other jurisdictions are doing, and to include our ED and matters as well as a matter of at least public notice is something that I think we ought to consider as council at some future point, which I think an appropriate place for us to have some of these discussions is at the retreat that we have, to see whether or not folks are amenable to that. So that's all I've got tonight. Do we have a motion for executive session?
Yes, we do. We've got a few different things here tonight. Hang on one second here. Okay, receipt of legal advice, legal matters, litigation update as one. Proposed contractual matter, pennies program audits. Personal matter, treasurer. Personal matter, county attorney. Receipt of legal advice, contractual matter, retention of special legal counsel and advice counsel. And it's a total of 5 in total.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We will go directly into executive session. We are out of executive session. No action was taken. Do we have any motions?
Yeah, 2 motions here. I make a motion that we move to direct manager identify an engineer to review design, bidding, construction, efficiencies, and related pennies for progress practices for the purpose of advising the County Transportation Committee once retained.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
I make a motion that we move to authorize the county council chair to identify specific advice counsel regarding ongoing litigation and return the special advice counsel for consideration to be approved by county council.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.